Peace, family. So we're back with another one. Today, what I want to do is I want to do my chosen ones about how they want you to conform to their way of life. They want you to conform to their belief system. They want you to be in agreement with their ideology. And we all understand that their ideology, their thought process comes from the system that's in charge, that's at hand right now. So diving into this subject and just understanding, like, a lot of these beings are stuck in the playbook that they are using. They are stuck in a cycle that's like the movie 31st Dates or 51st Dates, one of the two. It's a lot of dates, you know. Either way, we are structured down here in this realm of reality to flow with source or to oppose source. Most of us over here is going to be riding with source. We're going to be riding for source. So we know that a lot of our rewards, a lot of our fruits that we get and receive is going to be coming from the creator, source itself. We believe in this playbook. We live by this playbook. The other team over here on the other side of the spectrum, they don't live by the same ideologies and thought processes as we do. So you got to understand, like, I've been having conversations with some people, and it's like they still try to get me to conform to these holy days, holidays that we having right now. You know what I mean? Like, somebody just recently asked me, hey, do you want to come over and help me decorate for Halloween? And in my mind, it's like, yo, you already know I've been transitioned out of that space. So to be asking me if I want to indulge into this ideology, this thought process that I don't agree with, I can't do that. I can, but I will not do that. That is pushing me the opposite way of the playbook that I currently use. So if I don't want the bad team winning the war, why would I continuously feed the bad team or give them my resources that I do have so that way they can continue doing what they are doing? It doesn't make sense to me. And a lot of people, a lot of us had a hard time growing up because we wasn't taught or shown different routes to these holy days that everyone celebrates in the Western culture. You know, and for me, when I first started breaking away from these holy days, it was a tough spot. One, because I had just had my daughter around that time, like 2015, so 2016 is when I really started moving away. In 2017, I was all the way away from the holidays. The hardest part of breaking away from their ideologies and their thoughts is that first initial step that you take. And that's because you're breaking your own habits that you've been going through repetitively throughout the years, throughout the months, throughout the days, you know, throughout the weeks, throughout minutes, hours, you know. So when I got to that space and I finally transitioned out of conforming to these certain holy days that they have, and this is just going to be one example that I'm giving for right now. You know, everybody doesn't celebrate these holy days. Grand Rising, hey, salute to everybody pulling up, pulling in. Y'all already know I'm just going to get straight to it. You can catch it on the replay back, or you know, you can vibe as we're going through. But I don't have the same structure as everybody else where we set all these times, we sit down and do all these things. You know, one day we'll get there. The way life is set up right now, sometimes you just got to flow like water. You know. If you don't know how to flow like water, you're going to have a hard time managing out here because everything is not always going to go in your favor. But understanding how hard they work to get us to conform. I'm speaking of these holy days that we have in place now. You know, on a smaller scale, it doesn't look like much. You know, hey, come over and help me decorate my house for Halloween. In my mind, it's like, damn, you asking me to do something that I don't agree with. So even though I'm not hurting nobody in the physical form right now, at that time or in this time, I'm still giving energy to the team to utilize however they want to use. If I don't indulge and I don't conform to their ideologies, that means that's one less resource that they have. That's one less dollar that they receive. You know, that's one less being that they have doing what they've been doing and putting these witchy spells out here behind these holy days and making people disappear. We already know how bad, you know, the kids go disappearing around that time of the year, around this time of the year, because it's getting back around that time now. And you can also use other examples as far as how they want to get to conform to these weird ideologies and thought processes. It's like you work really hard at building up that inner strength so that way you can keep one in front of the other, and then you got certain beings who pop in and out, and they are still on the same time, they still on the same page, they still using the same playbook that they was before, you know? It could be as small as example, somebody had communicated with me months ago, and they was explaining that, oh yeah, I enjoy your vibration, blah, blah, blah. I feel like we similar, blah, 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 blah. But then this being is still doing, you know, twerk videos, talking about doing modeling. It's not anything that harmful wrong with modeling, you know what I mean? But in today's society, I think we don't need any more selfish constructs for us to kind of just put I, and me first, you know? It's gonna be extremely hard to build any kind of healthy community if we're constantly putting just I, me. We could all be running around backbiting and stabbing each other in the just to get 1 foot up. You get that 1 foot up, you're not guaranteed to make it to the top because you're 1 foot up. So that be the weird process with some of these beings when they're in this space, you know what I mean, is understanding that just because you cut somebody's legs off don't mean you necessarily get their legs from chopping them off. But the team, and the way they use that other playbook, it doesn't matter how many steps they getting up, they're still gonna utilize that to chop anyways. Even if it moves them a centimeter, it may not move them up personally a lot of notches, but it helps their team. It gives them more energy to either conjure up or disperse however they would like to in that manner. And we all understand if we want better for the next generation, then we gotta fight a little bit harder, we gotta do a little bit more. So even if it's hard for us not conforming and the ones around us see us being that sore thumb, that needle in the haystack, we gotta understand there's people that's also around us in real time and in the digital world that's watching, and they do respect what you're doing and how you moving. You don't have to have the biggest bag in the world for people to respect what you're doing. A lot of people that follow the playbook utilize that as like a system, you know? And we all know, moving over here with the creator and source, that we don't get to take any of that with us. So if you're not utilizing that to benefit your family, you know, the peers around you that you care about, you charging, I see people start businesses and they charge their peers, their friends, their family the same price that they charge people that they don't know. And it's like, how that you are basically putting a dollar before the people that you care about. I'm on the weird side of the spectrum too, where there's a lot of people that could come to you and abuse that privilege because you did position yourself, you know. But that's when moving with source will give you the insight that you have to give these chances and opportunities to let people burn their own bridges, to let people shoot their own self in the foot. It keeps you feeling a lot younger and youthful. It takes a lot of stress off of your back. It keeps you from going in that space of thinking, oh man, I know I shouldn't trust him, I know I shouldn't trust him. A small task isn't gonna hurt you, it's not gonna be at your detriment with a small task. You know what I mean? So let's say somebody started a clothing company, because that's what everybody's doing. Really, they're not even really starting them, they just buying the shirts. They're not making the shirts themselves, buying the shirts, imprinting their logo on them, and selling them for 25, 30, 50, 60, 70 dollars. When you following source, you're gonna create your own construction structure. You're not gonna follow the same number that everybody else is following. So just because these people all put their shirts out and they selling at 25, 30 dollars, doesn't mean you have to put yours out and sell it the same way. In my world, in order to do that, why wouldn't I sell it for less so that way I could sell more? So either you're still reaching that goal, but what happens is when you set it at such a high number, you're not caring about the other people that cannot support. At least when you the other way around, people that don't have much can still reach out and support and get more. You know what I mean? And these is like a lot of things that they kind of get us to condone into and put the dollar first before everything, you know? And their ideologies that they try to implant to still just to walk down those avenues. It's like, if I don't work and bust my ass to get out of certain avenues and certain lanes, then I'm not gonna allow somebody to pop into the picture with a smile and pretending to be like they got high energy, but the words they're choosing to use isn't matching with the energy that they're presenting. Communication is an overall package. And if you understand that, then you're gonna have an extremely hard time trying to process and understand what's taking place around you, why people are acting and carrying themselves a certain way around you, why your energy feels off balance when you go to certain locations and places. All of these things, we already understand when we go to things. You can follow their rules and guidelines without condoning each and every step or thing that they do in that place or location. You can go to the doctors and get help, but that don't mean you have to condone and be in agreement with everything that they're doing. You have to have some kind of an awareness and assistance to help you stand more solid with Source Creator. Half the time, you already know, when you speak on Source Creator, God, Allah out here, most people are going to shun you, they're going to shoo you, they're going to push you left, right, up, down, side. You know, most beings don't even want to indulge in that kind of conversation. And for the ones that I do run into that don't want to indulge, they're very good at being silent. They don't have anything good to say, they don't have anything bad to say, but I'm very good at reading energy. So if you don't have love and light to give to the Source and Creator, I already understand what side you're taking. You don't have to speak verbal language to understand what's going on around you. A lot of us have gotten so used to this verbal communication that we do use, and sometimes we feel as though people process the way we do. They cups are not always half full when you're dealing with some of these other beings out here. A lot of the times they cup be half empty. This is why they looking at you like you fish food. You know, they looking at some way to get some kind of leverage or one up you. You know, the reason why you could be down, see you down, and they don't do anything to try to pick you up. You know what I mean? Or to assist you or to guide you into a better space. A lot of these beings will just watch you. They'll laugh. They'll hang out with you in that space because they're used to being in that space. When you get around people that's used to being in that space, we already understand we are an accumulation of the pairs we hang around. So we have some familiarities when we are engaging in these are your two friends and this is what you have some similarity why you are connected with them the way you are, you know? And even when I stop and reflect and look back, a lot of my friendships that I had and some of the people that I didn't really co-sign their behaviors, everything's on a percentage scale. So when I'm saying I didn't co-sign their behavior, I mean like 70 to 80% I didn't co-sign, but there was a small 20% and also based on proximity. You know what I mean? So it's always something is gonna be similar why we resonate or don't mind mingling or, you know, vibing with certain people in certain locations and places and stuff like that. But when you out here fighting this war right now, you're gonna have a lot of people trying to get you to conform to their belief system, which is the structure that's in place, you know? And we all see what's going on right now. We got politics hitting hard. This is the politics season, you know? So there's a lot of people who blindly, speaking of voting for someone based off of the vessel they were presented to in this realm. Basically what I'm saying in layman's terms is a lot of people want to vote for the female. She's a female. Not that she has anything flowing for her or even helping people and healing people and doing more in that position. No, just because she's a female, you know. And to be wary and mindful of people like this because people like this, they're willing to change sides with whatever current is moving at the time, you know. So if the wind blows the water this way, they flow that way. Doesn't matter if they gotta go this direction. If the wind is blowing the water this way, they're gonna go the opposite way of the direction of their destination that they have to go to. You know, a lot of beings out here are naturally crashing out. They already know they crashing out. I done heard a few people already mention it, like, yeah, I'll probably move on to my next journey before you. And I'm like, damn, how you know? Like, you don't know what I got going on, or you know what source has in place for you. You may be needed and utilized to show other people how off balance you are so they can work on how great they can be. When you understand this war and what's actually going on, it makes more sense when you maneuvering out here. I had one of my buddies I do socialize with. He was saying, you know, I have a lot of patience for the people who communicate with religious beliefs. And it's like, that's because I understand when someone is speaking to me and they're a Christian, they're talking about, you know, Jesus and the Bible and these things in nature. First thing that comes into my mind is another part of the world and another culture where they have another belief system that comes to source. So I don't ever take the information that I'm getting from them and be like, oh, because I don't believe in it, like, oh no, this is bad, this is wrong. Like, I don't, if you call him Jesus, Yahshua, if Jay's wasn't, you know, present back then, I don't care what name you use, as long as that's connecting you to source. The same difference if they over in China speaking a different language and culture. I'm not gonna say that they're going to some bad place when their walk of life is just as righteous. They just have a different technique as far as how they're getting there. Over here in this culture, you know, we like to skip, run, jump, do all of these things. You know what I mean? And this culture over here getting to source, they might just have an even, steady walk pace. You know what I mean? But I cannot say that, oh, these people are wrong in their walk of life, even though you can watch them and see them, engage with them, and you can tell that their connection with source is way more airtight than a lot of other beings in other parts of the world, or their connection is just as tight as the people who believe in the Quran and the Bible. You know what I mean? So for me, it becomes more of a pushback when they want to question whether source is real, or, you know what I mean? So that's where they'll get some pushback for me at. But usually people who are in the religious realm, they aren't questioning whether the source is real or not. You know what I mean? And then them beings trying to get you to condone in their ideology, it's just trying to give you some direction if you don't have a direction. So I never took that as, oh man, this is, I grew up in the church. I was raised in the church. You know what I mean? So even though I don't walk that way of life, I don't take their information as if it's been harmful to me. Because even if you don't believe in everything that's being said, if you are following or watching the real ones who walk that life, you can tell that they connected with source. It may not be a whole lot of physical fight, but the spiritual fight in the battle is in between their comprehension and their understanding of what's actually taking place out here is just superseding the people who don't believe in anything at all. You have to have something in place. So if we don't implement these things from this side, from source, then we know damn well we're gonna have the other team implement everything that they have in their power to push to us, to push on top of us, you know, any kind of weight that they can add to the process, you know, as long as they look like they're related. I don't need, man, it's hard to even tell with the looks these days, you know what I mean? Like, in my world, I'm way too intelligent to think that even the physical war is color bias, because anybody understanding their culture, you would know that, or you would leave your culture as not dumb or mentally challenged, you know what I mean? So when I think of my culture, brown people, you know, from this area, this landmass, I know it's a lot of fighters and wars. Why do you think we got so much going with the gang culture? They didn't have a direction, so they got directed over there. These are warriors that would have been used to fight this other battle. But instead, they condoned, they followed, they conformed into the other ideology. We have to understand these things. Like, it's hard to make it a color bias when I know that I know a bunch of people, you're not just gonna run up on them and do a bunch of physical stuff and then that's gonna be it. You have to use some kind of manipulation to get them to conform to what you would like them to do. If I didn't want to do something, they would have to figure out some other kind of way to manipulate the environment or, you know, my vibration to try to get me to conform. They will have to set up some consequences that's harder than the actual situation itself. It's kind of like you spilling milk one time and your mom kicked you out the house for a month. The consequences supersede the cause or the problem and effect that took place. That's overly exaggerated. Like, we don't need to go to those lengths. It's supposed to be a balance and measurement. You know what I mean? So the consequences is supposed to balance out and equate to whatever situation was taking place, you know? But we already understand with the system, it doesn't add up. Dealing with people who follow the system, it never adds up. It seems like they're always to get over on you or get one up on you or to get you to conform first. Then they can start utilizing their other spells and magic that they want to put in place on you. It's a lot of witchery and sorcery out here. Hey, greetings from Switzerland. We out here. We everywhere. We just light beings everywhere around the world. You know what I mean? So even on my hardest days, which I discussed in the last one, you know, it's been a little rocky. You know what I mean? Like, they could never beat me down into a space to where I believe like there is no one out here fighting this battle, that this is all it's ever gonna be. Because I fight too hard over here on my side. So I know if I fight on my side, I am guaranteed for sure that there's other beings in the world that is fighting just as hard as I'm fighting, if not 50 times harder than I'm fighting, because they may be in a better position to fight harder. They may have better resources and different resources to fight harder. Yeah, Flint, Michigan is tapped in. Good, Flint, what's good? We all out here everywhere, man. And back to conforming. They even put the poisons in water, which we know that they poison all of our waters. They poison a lot of our stuff. But I mean, it was one of those areas where it was obvious and it was televised nationwide that they was poisoning the water, you know? If you are conforming to these ideologies, then most likely you would start going over to what? Bottled water, which bottled water is poison too. So how much poison are they really putting in the water? They got something, but what they're doing isn't knocking us down fast enough. And a lot of things that the system is trying, they're realizing that our bodies is stronger than the stuff that they are whipping up and cooking up. They do have stuff that's pretty strong and potent, but that stuff that they could use would knock us down within minutes, you know, within hours or within days. But the other stuff that they're trying to critique is taking longer, and then they're realizing they only can test it on real vessels, and they're realizing that, okay, these vessels come equipped with a lot more and they're a lot stronger, you know, than all of their ancestral history, because we already understand that this shit has been going on generations before us, way before us. So to just assume a person can leave a dent and impact is possible. But usually that one person is trying to impact as many people as they possibly can to pass the torch on. You see what I'm saying? So in a way, we get people to conform to our ideology, just believing in source. That's the way we supposed to go. So I don't ever like using that way, but I always throw it out there for clarity. Because we do the same thing on our side. Everything we do on our side, the other team does in a demonic form. The same way I just clap my hands and like just a form of communication and exaggeration, you know what I mean? The other team will do it too, and they will have different intentions behind it. They take everything from this side and they flip it. So if it was this way at first, when it goes to this side, it's flipped that. You know what I mean? So to look at anything as if they created or they started it, no. It's a big extortion game. It's a very big extortion game. Duality and reverse, yeah, and polarity. Big facts, big facts. It's happening consistently and daily out here. And if you're not like paying attention, you'll miss little subtle things that close people will do to you. The closest ones to you is the ones you have to watch the most, even though these are we feel like we should be able to relax more around. That's the weirdest thing for me, for real, is like you let people in your space and then it's like they want to take advantage or abuse it. It's like, you don't even know how I get down. Like, spiritually, I will fuck you up. Physically, I will fuck you up. It's really that simple. Like, they genuinely do not care. We suicide bomb for source, for purpose, and cause. They suicide bomb at the detriment of everything. Detriment of themselves, detriment of the people around them, detriment of like locations and things that were built by people who put a lot of time and energy and effort into building what they were building. It's going to get trickier and trickier out here if we really not paying attention to what's going on and how these people are using subtle. I spoke a lot of the system, but it also correlates to the people that's, you know, the minions that's working underneath, down below, at the bottom. It correlates with them the same way. They get all their tactics bad. The ones who's been teaching them and raising them the same way we follow source over here. We've been getting a lot of our teachings in our walk of life from there as well too. We have to stay sharp, and you have to keep a close eye on the ones around you. It's harder for strangers to get in your space to do these things. It's much easier for people that's already close to you to get into your space to do these things. Don't nobody want to have to watch their child and pay attention to the signs and see if the spiritual war is into them, because you'll have the demonic team in the spiritual realm using your own children against you. And if you're not showing them different methods, they will start to conform to that ideology. I have to go through this process with my daughter. A whole nother side that is big into all of the holy days and all of the little crop tops and, you know, just all of the things that that other team do that I ain't really with. You know, I understand it, but that's not the way I view life or the way I walk life. And you have to be more outspoken. The more honest you can be, the easier it will be to avoid and to basically swipe left on their manipulation tactics that they do use. You know, keep these things in mind. You know what I mean? I didn't want to run up too long. I just want to prepare and drop something down real quick. Y'all know this is going to be the formula and format we're using. Eventually, I'll get to a time and space to where I'm giving times and dates to where everybody can tap in, and then we all can chop it up and vibe, you know what I mean? As far as for right now, this the avenue we going right here. And I appreciate everybody tapping in. We got Goldsboro, NC, we got H-Town, I seen Switzerland. We got, it's everybody. We all over the world out here. The technology isn't the problem, it's the people using the problem. It's like the gun isn't the problem, it's the people behind the gun that's the problem. Social media isn't the problem, it's the people behind social media. When I use my social media, I don't use it for demonic purposes. I don't be scrolling on there all day. I don't have a bunch of weird twerkers or dancers on my news feed. I don't have any of that shit, to be honest. But I don't follow these kind of people, you know. It's like, we want to point, scratch that, let's fix it. Not what we want. The system will structure it to where it seems as though these are the things that we follow and engage and indulge in. But if you don't clean your news feed, if you don't clean up your page, if you don't clean up the people that's following you or the ones that you following, it's going to be all over your feed. But I hate when people are pointing the finger outwardly when everything starts within. They be like, oh, this social media is killing and detriment of everybody. It's like somebody's back there typing, or somebody's back there typing. It's not just doing it by itself. So when you put yourself in that frame, you're basically conforming to what they want you to conform to. Being on their team and being somebody who is unaccountable. You don't like to take accountability. It's a simple process. People who take accountability understand that, okay, it's not the table's fault, you know, that it's holding all of the poisons on the table. It's the people who put all the poisonous foods on the table. Oh, the guns is the problem. Do y'all not know that people are using machetes and knives? People use machetes and knives. People have certified hands that has to get licensed. There's other ways to hurt and harm people if you really wanted to. Hey, facts. Hit the like button. Y'all know I don't be on it, but I appreciate the support. You know what I mean? It's other beings out here that utilizing that stuff the wrong way. So don't get in a process or in that you know, in that space of saying, oh, social media is killing it all. No, people was already fucking up before social media got here. I'm a 80s baby, so I didn't have all the social medias and technologies growing up. I was already a teenager when all of that stuff started hitting in my 20s, so I was very knowledgeable and aware when all this stuff was happening. But this stuff has already been transpiring before social media. That's why your own moms and dads are walking the same life that you can see people on social media doing right now. They was already doing it. They just have social media to post it everywhere. It's very simple. It is. Everything is processed now. It is. That's big facts. So my thing is, even with the process stuff, it's like, be mindful of how you fast. I know a lot of people look at it like you starving. You are not starving yourself. If you are using the terminology starving, that means you are conforming to the word spells that the other team put out here. You are conforming. You don't see people in Ethiopia overweight, starving out and dying. No, usually when they used to show those, I only use that because I thought of the damn commercials the dumbass people used to put on for us with, you know, that culture looking all sad and, you know, bones showing and all that stuff. You have a lot of food stored in your body already. Well, how do you think we hold all this weight that we do hold? I don't get it. Like, that's how we hold the weight. You don't ever notice that when you stop eating, the weight starts to go down? That means your body is not storing it anymore. Your body is utilizing the food and nutrients that was stored in your body already. A lot of people that I run to are, not all, but I do run into a lot that's unhealthy in that space. And it's like, yo, all you gotta do is fast. But you looking at fasting like it's something harmful to you. It's only harmful to you if you don't have no fight in you. If you don't have no fight to be better, to do better, then of course it's gonna be harmful. My first time fasting, I fasted with some Muslims. I don't even practice Islam. But they welcomed me, allowed me to fast with them for 30 days, you know. And that was a big turning point in my life for me. I knew I had discipline, and I knew when I put my mind to do something, I would figure it out and I would get it done, or I would stick projects through until it was done. A bunch of buddies that tapped out and they didn't finish Ramadan. But I finished Ramadan my days. I got my certification. I would say like 2-3 years after that, I ended up just doing another fast myself. And this time I fasted from just the meats. That time I fasted from any food during the daytime and on water at like 6:30. My water and foods at like 6:30. Midday, not anything. When the sun is up, not anything. When the sun is going back down, I had my water and I had me some more food again. But during that midday time, that's discipline. You let your body detox. You are cleansing yourself during that time. That's mandatory, you know? But a lot of us have a hard time because we look at drugs like they're a bad thing, but you don't get food like it's a bad thing. I get so blown away by this process right here. You know, people like, oh, don't smoke this, don't smoke that, don't drink alcohol, don't do this, don't. But they, where are the ones that say stop eating the shit that you eating? You have to stop eating it. If they shut the world down right now, we all had to run. Half of us would be, even the skin would still be out of shape because we don't do anything to keep our endurance up. I'm sitting down. Most people at their jobs and gigs are sitting down. You get your ass on what you want to do. Sit down. I know a lot of females, they love sleep. I would say about 70-80% of the females that I've ran into know family members, non-family members love to sleep. That is like their recipe. And they do sleep all day, but that's one of the things that they love to do. Utilize that as a fasting time as well too. You know, we have to do more implementing of these things in order to strengthen ourselves. When you start putting yourself in these positions and you realize how much stronger you're getting and becoming, it's gonna make connection with source this much damn stronger. It's a lot of things that we can do that's daily habits and rituals that we can do to practice our connection with source. You don't have to bow your head and pray, you know, if that's not what you do. You don't have to get on your knees and pray up if that's not what you do. You know, every culture has a different avenue to source. You play on the basketball, you got a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. 5 different positions, they all on the same team with the same goal. Why can we not use this ideology in real lifetime? I don't want to hear or see no more Muslims talking about one or the other is bad when y'all should be riding together. Don't make sense. Y'all should be coming together. That's what we're doing right now. If not, then we're going to have a lot of that weird shit over here trying to conform us. And if you haven't realized, division is what they use. Why wouldn't it make sense that they put all religions against each other? So that way, you know, if you don't follow this one, then it's all by any means, you know, you're just going to the bad place, the worst place possible. No, if you're not moving in that light, you know. But I ain't want to run it up too long, man. It's fast, 18 hours pretty much every day, 24, a few times a month, 48. Hey, that's huge. That's huge. If you don't do long increments of fasting, try to do short increments like snacks. You know, every time you sit down, it don't have to be a big meal. You know what I mean? Sometimes I got to a point now to where even when I eat, I don't like to eat to where I'm full. I don't need my stomach feeling like it's way out here. Occasionally, once in a blue moon, overindulge. That's once in a blue moon. But for the most part, even when I'm eating, if I get a little, I don't want to make room to stuff more shit in there. What I do is I just take a break. I let my body process the processed foods that's in there. It's already a bunch of trash that we're putting in our body. So why would you overstuff the trash that you're putting in your body? The more we don't work on these things, the less we feel about ourselves. It will make it easier for them to put their spell out there to get us to conform to whatever ideology or flow they want us to flow with. We gotta keep these things in mind. You know what I mean? But the next time I pop up here, I'll probably I'll do like a question. Oh, look at my man Eric. I see you, big Eric, man. Man, that's high school days right there. Man, it'd be so many people tapping out. I can't keep up with everybody, man. That's a lot of love, King. That's a lot of love. He been through a lot and survived a lot too, man. A couple car crashes where he wasn't supposed to. A handful of things, man. Big salute, Eric, man. Keep fighting the good fight, bro. Keep fighting the good fight, man. A lot of respect over this way for you in there. For sure, for sure. But I ain't gonna run up too much longer, you know what I mean? We'll get to the questions like I was just saying, probably later on this week sometime, and then we'll just keep flowing from there, you know what I mean? But I wasn't gonna run up too long. Y'all make sure y'all tap into everything that's going to be in the descriptions. I don't have it right now, but I always gotta add it now because we're streaming now, so the sauce is a little bit different. But y'all know we're gonna get to it one another. So, but until next time, peace and love to the kings and queens.